Welcome to English R&L, the place where your voice, your confidence, and your English skills come alive. Every word you speak, every thought you shape, every emotion you express, they all form a bridge between who you are and the world that's waiting to hear you. At English R&L, we don't just practice English, we live it, breathe it, and use it to build the kind of confidence that transforms lives. Today, you're stepping into something special, a 90-minute masterclass designed not just to teach you, but to transform you. This is Unlock the Secrets of Public Speaking, 90-minute masterclass to transform your skills. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Imagine yourself standing before a room full of people. Maybe they're strangers, maybe they're colleagues, maybe it's just a few friends. You open your mouth, your voice flows smoothly, your ideas connect, and you see in their eyes that they're listening, truly listening. That moment, that electricity is the power of speaking. But for most of us, it's not always that easy, right? Maybe you felt your heart race, your palms sweat, your throat tighten when you try to speak in public. Maybe you've had something important to say, but fear stopped you. I've been there too. Everyone has. That's exactly why this masterclass exists, to help you discover that confident, powerful version of yourself who can stand tall and speak with clarity, conviction, and calm. Public speaking is not just a skill. It's a form of art, a science of connection, and a mirror of your inner state. When you learn to speak well, you learn to think well. You learn to feel your words, to shape your ideas, to lead others not by force, but by presence. Think about the most inspiring people in history. Martin Luther King Jr., Steve Jobs, Malala Yousafzai, Barack Obama, Emma Watson. Their power didn't come from fame or authority alone. It came from their ability to speak. Their words moved hearts, shaped nations, inspired change. They didn't just deliver information, they transferred emotion, belief, and energy. And that's what we're here to learn how to do. So let's start from the truth. Most people aren't born speakers. They're made. Through practice, patience, and the willingness to fail, they shape their voices like a musician tunes an instrument. Maybe you've told yourself, I'm not good at speaking, or I'll forget what to say, or I'm not interesting enough. But here's something to remember. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need flawless grammar, a big vocabulary, or a dramatic voice. What you need is authentic connection, the ability to speak from a place of truth. Because people don't remember perfect words. They remember how you made them feel. When you speak with authenticity, your nervousness becomes energy, your mistakes become charm, and your message becomes memorable. The world doesn't want another copy of someone else. It wants the real you. And your voice, yes, your natural voice, carries something no one else can replicate. That's why this journey isn't about imitating famous speakers. It's about unlocking the speaker within you. Imagine this. Every time you speak, you're planting seeds. Some seeds grow into ideas, some into actions, some into movements. You never know how far your words can reach, how they can comfort, inspire, or ignite someone else's life. But for that to happen, you must first trust yourself. Confidence in speaking begins long before you step on stage. It starts in your mind, the way you think about yourself, your worth, and your message. You might not realize it, but every thought you hold before you speak becomes part of your voice. If your mind says, they won't listen, your voice will hesitate. If your mind says, I have something valuable to share,
your voice will rise with strength. Let's pause for a moment. Think about a time when you wanted to speak but stayed silent. Maybe it was in a meeting, in class, or during a conversation where you had an idea but held it back. What stopped you? Fear of judgment? Fear of making a mistake? Now, imagine what would have happened if you had spoken up. Maybe someone would have agreed. Maybe you would have inspired a change. Maybe you would have simply felt proud of yourself. Every time you choose silence, you choose safety. But every time you choose to speak, you choose growth. And the secret of public speaking is learning to fall in love with that growth. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. Even the most seasoned speakers feel nervous before stepping onto the stage. The difference is they've learned to channel that nervousness into focus. That shaking energy in your body, it's not your enemy, it's your body preparing to perform. So the next time you feel your heart racing before you speak, smile and tell yourself, my body is getting ready to share something meaningful. The moment you reframe fear as excitement, you shift from panic to presence. Public speaking changes your life because it changes your identity. When you can stand in front of people and express your thoughts clearly, you start believing in your own voice. You become more persuasive, more respected, more trusted. Whether it's in a classroom, a job interview, a team meeting, or on stage, the ability to speak clearly and confidently will always be one of your most powerful advantages. It opens doors that talent alone can't open. And here's another truth. Speaking is not about performance. It's about purpose. The greatest speakers are not those who impress the crowd, but those who impact the crowd. When you stop trying to sound impressive and start focusing on giving value, everything changes. You relax, you breathe, you connect. You stop worrying about how you sound and start caring about why you're speaking. That shift from performance to purpose is where real power lives. So, as you begin this 90-minute masterclass, I want you to make a promise to yourself. No matter how many mistakes you make, no matter how many times your voice shakes, you will keep speaking because your voice deserves to be heard. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. If today you dare to speak when yesterday you stayed silent, that's growth. That's victory. Now, picture yourself again, standing in front of that room, that audience, or even just one person who needs to hear you. Your voice is steady, your thoughts are clear, and your message is real. You speak and they listen. You pause and they reflect. You finish and they feel something shift inside them. That's not magic, that's skill, and you can learn it. Over the next lessons, we'll go deeper into how to build confidence, how to craft powerful messages, how to use your voice and body effectively, and how to engage your audience from start to finish. But before we go there, remember this. Public speaking is not just about delivering words. It's about delivering yourself. Every time you speak, you're giving the world a piece of who you are, your energy, your story, your truth. And when that truth is spoken with heart, it becomes unforgettable. So, as we begin this journey together, hold on to this idea. Your voice is your power. You don't need permission to use it. You just need the courage to begin. So let's begin. You see, the biggest transformation in speaking doesn't begin on stage. It begins in your mind. Before you ever open your mouth, before you write your first line or rehearse your first speech, something has to shift inside you. The way you see yourself as a speaker determines everything. Most people spend years trying to improve their delivery, their gestures, their pronunciation, but they forget the foundation, the inner belief that says, I have something worth saying. Without that belief, every technique becomes empty. With it, even the simplest words can move mountains. Think about this. Every great speaker you admire once thought they weren't good enough. They doubted their voice, they feared being judged, they wondered if anyone would listen. But what separates them from the rest is that they didn't stop there. They learned to replace fear with focus, doubt with practice, and insecurity with service. They began to see speaking not as a test of performance, but as a gift to others. That's the mindset of a confident speaker. Not, I need to be perfect, but I need to be present. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Confidence is not something you find, it's something you build. You build it like a muscle. Every time you speak, every time you raise your hand, every time you share an idea, you're training that muscle. The first time feels shaky, the second time feels uncertain, the third time feels slightly better. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll find yourself speaking freely, naturally, powerfully, because confidence has become part of who you are. But there's something deeper. Confidence doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means the mastery of it. Even world-class speakers feel their hearts pounding before they step onto the stage. The difference is how they interpret that feeling. Instead of saying, I'm nervous, they say, I'm ready. The body's reaction is the same, faster heartbeat, adrenaline, energy, but the meaning changes everything. When you call it excitement instead of fear, your mind works with you, not against you. So the next time your hands tremble or your breath quickens, smile and think, good, my body is preparing me to do something amazing. The way you speak to yourself before you speak to others is the real beginning of every great speech. Imagine walking onto a stage telling yourself, I'm not good at this. What happens? Your body closes, your tone drops, your message weakens. Now imagine walking onto the same stage telling yourself, someone out there needs to hear this. Your posture changes, your voice strengthens, your energy rises. That's the power of self-talk. Every speaker has two voices, the one the audience hears and the one inside their head. Master the inner one, and the outer one will naturally follow. Here's a truth that changed my own life. People don't respond to perfection, they respond to presence. They don't want a flawless performer, they want a real human being who speaks with heart. The moment you stop trying to impress people and start trying to connect with them, everything shifts. You stop worrying about mistakes because you realize communication isn't about avoiding errors, it's about exchanging emotion. When your audience feels that you care, that you're authentic, they forgive everything else. Sometimes we think confidence comes from success, from delivering a great talk, getting applause, receiving praise. But real confidence comes from survival. It comes from the times you trembled, forgot your words, stumbled, and yet finished anyway. Those moments of imperfection are where strength is built. You don't need to be fearless, you need to be courageous. Fearless people don't exist. Courageous people feel fear and move forward anyway. Let's do a little experiment right now. Stand up wherever you are, take a deep breath, and plant your feet firmly on the ground. Lift your head, roll your shoulders back, and stand tall. This simple act of standing like a confident person changes your body chemistry. Your brain releases hormones that make you feel more powerful. It's called a power pose. Try it for 2 minutes before your next talk or meeting. You'll be surprised how much calmer and more in control you feel. Confidence doesn't always start in the mind. Sometimes it starts in the body. And then there's your voice. Before every talk, take a few moments to warm it up. Hum softly, stretch your lips, release tension from your jaw. Your voice isn't just a sound, it's an instrument. And like every instrument, it needs tuning. When you care for it, it responds beautifully. Your voice is your emotional fingerprint. No one else has one like yours. Don't hide it, don't force it, and don't compare it. Let it breathe. The confident speaker also understands something very profound. Speaking is not about being the center of attention, it's about giving attention. When you shift your focus from how do I look to how can I serve, anxiety begins to fade. You're no longer trapped in your head, you're connected to your audience. Confidence at its core is generosity. It's the courage to give your energy, your ideas, your truth to others, even when you're not sure how they'll respond. If you want to change the way you feel about speaking, change your relationship with mistakes. Most people fear them because they believe mistakes equal failure. But in truth, mistakes are evidence of growth. Every stumble, every awkward pause, every forgotten line is proof that you're out there doing something brave. Great speakers don't avoid mistakes. They recover from them gracefully. They smile, they breathe, and they move on. The audience doesn't care nearly as much as you think. Oftentimes, they don't even notice, unless you draw attention to it. So instead of panicking when something goes wrong, laugh at it, own it, and continue. That's confidence. Let's make this personal. Think of one moment in your life when you spoke up. Maybe it was small, but it mattered. Maybe you defended someone, asked for something, or shared an opinion. How did it feel? That moment is your proof that courage already lives inside you. You don't need to find confidence outside. You just need to remember the times you already showed it. Keep that memory close. Build on it. Let it remind you who you really are. And remember, confidence grows in silence too. It grows in the hours you spend practicing when no one's watching. It grows in every sentence you rewrite, every idea you refine. Speaking well is not about talent. It's about training. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's uncomfortable. One day, what once scared you will feel natural. You'll stand on that stage, open your mouth, and realize this is who I've become. So if you take one thing from this part of our journey, let it be this. Speaking with confidence isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more you. The louder, clearer, more courageous version of yourself. Your story, your perspective, your truth, they matter. The world doesn't need another perfect speaker. It needs your voice in your own imperfect, human way. That's what makes you unforgettable. Take a breath, smile, and say this quietly to yourself. I have something valuable to share, and my voice deserves to be heard. Feel the weight of those words. Let them sink in. That's the beginning of every great talk, a belief spoken first in your heart, long before it ever reaches the microphone. And as you continue this masterclass, that belief will keep growing stronger, guiding you through every lesson, every challenge, every word. Because once you believe in your voice, everything else becomes possible.
Now that you've started to feel the confidence rise inside you, it's time to talk about something that separates good speakers from unforgettable ones: the message. You see, confidence alone isn't enough. You can have the courage to stand on stage, but if your message isn't clear, it won't connect. Speaking is more than the act of talking. It's the art of transferring meaning from your mind to someone else's. And that transfer, that invisible bridge, only happens when your message is built on clarity and purpose. Have you ever listened to someone speak and thought, I have no idea what they're trying to say? Maybe they had great energy, perfect grammar, even beautiful slides, but something was missing. That something is direction. The truth is, people don't remember everything you say. They remember how you made them feel and what one thing you helped them understand. Great speakers don't say many things well.
They say one thing deeply. They know exactly what they want their audience to think, feel, or do when the speech is over. So before you write a single word of your talk, ask yourself a powerful question. What is the core message I want to leave behind? Not 10 points, not a list of facts, just one core truth. Imagine your audience leaving the room and someone asking them, "What did you learn?" If they can summarize your talk in one meaningful sentence, you've succeeded. That one sentence is the heartbeat of your message. It's what I call your power line. It's the line that defines everything else you say. Let's imagine you're giving a talk on leadership. You could talk about communication, empathy, strategy, teamwork, but your power line might be something like, leadership isn't about control, it's about connection. Suddenly, everything in your talk serves that one idea. Every story, every example, every quote becomes a branch growing from that single root. And because your message has focus, it has strength. Clarity also requires simplicity. Many people think that using complicated words makes them sound smart. But in reality, simplicity makes you sound confident. Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." The audience doesn't want to decode your words. They want to feel your meaning. So instead of trying to impress them, aim to reach them. The more clearly you speak, the more deeply they'll listen. Every powerful message also tells a story. Storytelling isn't decoration, it's the engine that drives emotion. Facts inform, but stories transform. When you tell a story, you give your audience a mirror, something they can see themselves in. It's not about having a dramatic life story. It's about showing a human moment that connects to your message. Maybe it's the first time you faced fear, or a small failure that taught you something huge. People don't want to hear how perfect you are. They want to hear how you grew. That's what inspires them. Every story follows a rhythm, a hero, a conflict, and a resolution. The hero doesn't have to be you. It can be anyone or anything that illustrates your point. The conflict is what makes the story real. It's the struggle, the tension, the obstacle. Without conflict, there's no growth. And the resolution, that's your lesson, the wisdom you bring back to your audience. When you weave those three elements together, you don't just speak, you create an experience. And here's the secret. Your audience wants you to succeed. They're not waiting for you to fail. They want to be moved. They want to understand. They want to feel something. So guide them like a storyteller. Take them somewhere. Use contrast. Use silence. Use rhythm. A great talk has music in it, not literally, but emotionally. There are highs and lows, pauses and bursts, like waves. Don't rush. Let your words breathe. The moments of silence between your sentences are often the most powerful ones. That's where reflection happens. When crafting your message, always think of your audience as a living, breathing person sitting across from you, not a faceless crowd. Ask yourself, what do they care about? What are they struggling with? What do they dream of? The more you understand them, the more your message will land. Speak to their hearts, not their ears. Facts may impress them, but emotion will move them. Here's something you can try right now. Think of a topic you care deeply about, something you'd talk about even if no one paid you. Write down what you'd want others to take away from it in just one sentence. That's your power line. Then build your message around it like building a home around a strong foundation. Each paragraph, each example, each story should serve that one purpose. If it doesn't belong there. Simplicity is clarity, clarity is power. Another key to crafting a powerful message is using contrasts, showing opposites that make your point vivid. For example, instead of saying confidence is important, say, confidence isn't about being fearless, it's about being brave while afraid. See how that contrast makes it more alive? Contrast creates clarity. It gives your audience something to feel. The way you begin your talk also matters enormously. The first 30 seconds are your chance to grab attention, not with a joke or a quote, but with truth. Begin with the story, a surprising fact, or a question that makes people think. Instead of starting with, "Good morning, my name is," try something like, "3 years ago, I stood in front of 50 people and forgot every single word I'd planned to say. That day changed how I think about fear forever." That's honesty. That's human. And that's what makes people listen. And when you end your talk, end with meaning. Don't fade out. Leave your audience with something to carry, a thought, a challenge, a question. A great ending doesn't just summarize, it activates. It invites your audience to take action. Your final words are your legacy in their minds. Don't let them walk away saying, "That was nice." Let them walk away saying, "That changed me." Crafting your message is also about rhythm, balancing logic and emotion. Use facts to build trust, but use stories to build connection. Too much logic and you'll sound distant. Too much emotion and you'll lose credibility. The best talks flow between the two, like breathing in and out. That balance keeps your audience both thinking and feeling, and that's where transformation happens. Here's one more secret. Clarity comes from rewriting. Every great speaker rewrites their message many times. The first draft is for you, the next ones are for your audience. Every time you refine it, you make it clearer, sharper, stronger. Don't aim for perfection, aim for precision. Cut what's unnecessary. Simplify what's confusing. The more you edit, the more your core truth shines through. And when you finally speak your message aloud, speak it as if you're speaking to one person you care deeply about. Forget the crowd. Speak to the human being behind the eyes. That's how connection happens, one person at a time. So remember this. Your message doesn't have to be big to be powerful. It just has to be real. Speak about what matters to you, and it will matter to others. Your authenticity is your greatest amplifier. People can feel when you mean what you say. That's something you can't fake, and that's why your voice will always matter, because it carries your truth. So take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what's the one message I want the world to hear from me? Say it out loud right now. Feel it. That's the beginning of every great speech, every great conversation, every great act of leadership. The clarity of your message becomes the clarity of your life. And when your words align with your truth, your voice becomes unstoppable.
You can have the most powerful message in the world, but if your voice doesn't carry it, people won't feel it. The voice is the bridge between your thoughts and the hearts of your listeners. It's not just sound, it's emotion made audible. Think of your voice as an instrument, one that can inspire, calm, command, or comfort. Yet most people use only a small part of their range. They speak safely, quietly, evenly, afraid of sounding too emotional, too expressive. But here's the truth. People don't connect to perfection. They connect to feeling. When your voice carries your true feeling, that's when others truly listen. Start by noticing your natural voice. Right now, if you spoke one sentence out loud, what would it sound like? Is it tense, flat, shaky, or strong? The first step to mastering your voice is awareness. Most of us speak from our throats, not from our bodies. We force sound instead of allowing it. A strong voice doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from relaxing deeper. Breathe. Drop your shoulders. Let your breath fill your chest, then your stomach. When you speak, let your sound ride on that breath like a wave. That's where true resonance lives. Your voice isn't just what people hear, it's what they feel. Every tone, every rhythm, every pause tells a story. When you whisper, you draw people in. When you project, you awaken them. When you slow down, you make them think. And when you pause, truly pause, you give them space to feel what you've just said. The greatest speakers in the world understand that silence isn't the enemy of speech, it's part of it.
The moment you stop talking, your audience starts processing. They lean in, they feel. That's the music of speaking. So, how do you find that voice? The answer lies in three elements: breath, tone, and presence. Your breath is your foundation. Without breath, your words lose power. When you feel nervous, your breathing becomes shallow, your voice tightens, your pitch rises, and suddenly your message sounds unsure. But when you take slow, full breaths, your body signals safety to your mind, and your voice deepens naturally. Before you speak, whether it's a presentation, a meeting, or a casual conversation, take one slow, conscious breath. It's not just to calm yourself, it's to anchor yourself. Next, tone, the color of your voice. It's what makes your words feel alive. If your tone never changes, your audience will stop hearing you, even if they're still listening. Variety is the secret. You don't need to act, you just need to feel. When you're passionate, let your tone rise. When you're sincere, let it soften. When you're serious, let it settle low and steady. Your tone is your emotional fingerprint. Don't hide it. Let it show who you are. And then there's presence, the invisible quality that makes people feel your words before you even say them. Presence is born from connection. It's the quiet confidence that says, I am here. I belong in this moment. You can't fake presence because it comes from stillness. When you are fully present, when your mind isn't racing, when you're not trying to prove anything, people can feel it. They trust you. They relax. Your voice becomes not just sound, but energy. Here's something powerful to try. Record yourself speaking for 1 minute on any topic you love. Don't plan, don't edit, just talk. Then listen. What do you hear? Is your voice alive? Does it carry emotion? Is it fast, slow, monotone, expressive? This isn't about judgment. It's about discovery. You can't improve what you don't hear. Most people hate their recorded voice because it sounds unfamiliar. But once you start listening with curiosity instead of criticism, you'll learn to shape it, not shrink from it. Your body, too, speaks long before your words do. The way you stand, move, and look communicates confidence or fear, authority or hesitation. Even silence has body language. If your words say one thing but your body says another, people believe your body. Why? Because the body doesn't lie. So align them. When you stand to speak, plant your feet shoulder width apart. Feel the ground under you. Literally, feel it. That's your stability. Keep your posture open, not stiff. Hands unclenched, shoulders relaxed, chin level. Your goal isn't to look powerful, it's to be grounded. Confidence isn't about dominance, it's about ease. When your body feels safe, your audience feels safe. Gestures are your body's punctuation. Use them intentionally. Don't wave your arms randomly. Let your gestures emerge from your thoughts. When you describe something big, let your hands show it. When you speak from the heart, bring your hand closer to your chest. When you want to emphasize a point, lean in slightly. The key is authenticity, movement that matches meaning. And never underestimate the power of your eyes. Eye contact isn't about staring, it's about connection. Look at one person long enough to make a real connection, not a glance, not a scan, but a moment. Then move to another. When you look into someone's eyes while speaking, you remind them that they matter. You're not talking at them, you're talking to them. Let's talk about energy. Every time you speak, you transfer energy. If your energy is low, your audience's energy drops too. But high energy doesn't mean shouting or bouncing around. It means being alive in your voice and body. Energy is the emotional voltage behind your words. You create it through intention. Ask yourself before every talk, what energy do I want to bring into this room? Then let your voice and body carry that energy like light. Confidence in body language also comes from acceptance. Acceptance of how you move, how you sound, how you show up. You don't have to copy anyone else. Your natural rhythm, your unique gestures, your real smile, that's your signature. Own it. The audience doesn't want a performer. They want a real person. Remember this. Your body and your voice are partners, not separate tools. The more connected they are, the more magnetic you become. When you speak from your breath, move with intention, and look with sincerity, something magical happens. People don't just listen, they feel you. And once they feel you, they'll remember you. So here's a practice to ground it. Stand in front of a mirror or record yourself. Speak one powerful sentence, something that means something to you. As you say it, notice your posture, your breathing, your gestures, your tone. Are they aligned with your words? If not, adjust one at a time. Lift your chin, slow your pace, breathe deeper, speak again, feel the difference. That's mastery. Not perfection, but awareness. Your voice and body are the instruments through which your truth travels. Treat them with respect. Train them, yes, but more importantly, trust them. The moment you trust your body and your voice to express what's real, you'll no longer perform. You'll communicate. And that's what great speakers do. They don't deliver speeches, they deliver themselves. So when you stand in front of others, whether it's one person or 1,000, remember that your voice is not small. It was never small. It was waiting for you to believe in it. The microphone doesn't give you power. It only amplifies the power that's already inside you. The real question is, will you allow yourself to be heard?
Every time you speak, whether to one person or 1,000, something invisible is happening beneath the surface. You're not just transferring information, you're shaping emotion, belief, and behavior. That's influence. True influence isn't about manipulation, it's about connection. It's the art of helping others see what you see, feel what you feel, and believe in what's possible. And that art begins with psychology, understanding what moves people, what motivates them, and what makes them say yes, not just with their minds, but with their hearts. If you think about it, every human interaction is emotional before it's logical. We like to believe that people make decisions based on reason, but the truth is, emotion drives action, and logic justifies it afterward. When you speak, your words may reach someone's ears, but your emotion is what reaches their soul. That's why the best communicators don't just speak clearly, they speak deeply. They don't talk to the head, they talk through the heart. Think about the people who've influenced you most. Maybe it was a teacher, a parent, a friend, or a leader. Chances are they didn't just give you advice. They made you feel something. Inspired, understood, seen, safe. That feeling became a bridge. And once that bridge was built, their words could cross easily. Influence doesn't start with power, it starts with empathy. The moment someone feels understood, they open the door for you to guide them. Empathy is your greatest tool as a speaker. It's not about saying, I know how you feel. It's about truly feeling it with them. Before you speak, take a moment to step into your audience's world. Ask yourself, what do they want? What are they afraid of? What do they need right now? When you understand their emotional landscape, your words stop being noise and start becoming nourishment. This is where psychology meets storytelling. Every story that moves people follows a hidden emotional pattern: hope, struggle, transformation. When you share a story, don't just tell what happened, tell what it meant. Describe the emotion of that moment, the doubt, the fear, the turning point.
Because people don't connect to your success, they connect to your humanity. The more you show what you felt, the more they'll feel too. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the doorway to trust. Let's talk about trust. In the psychology of influence, trust is the currency. Without it, nothing you say will matter. People don't buy ideas, they buy the person delivering them. Trust isn't built by perfection, but by consistency. It's the alignment between your words, your tone, your actions, and your energy. When what you say matches who you are, people believe you. When it doesn't, they sense it immediately. Humans are emotional detectors. We feel authenticity faster than we understand logic. So how do you build trust in your communication? Start by being real. Don't hide your uncertainty. Don't pretend to have all the answers. Speak with honesty even when it's uncomfortable. The sentence, "I don't know, but I'm willing to learn," builds more trust than 1,000 clever answers. People respect honesty more than perfection. And when you dare to be genuine, you give others permission to be genuine too. The next layer of influence is emotional pacing, the rhythm of how you guide someone's feelings. Great speakers are emotional choreographers. They know when to raise energy, when to calm it, when to let silence linger, when to inject humor, when to ignite hope. You can feel when a talk takes you on a journey. You laugh, you reflect, you get chills, you feel uplifted. That's not an accident. That's emotional pacing done right. It's how you keep people not just listening, but feeling. Here's something fascinating about human psychology. People don't remember everything you say, but they remember how you made them feel at the end. That final emotional note becomes the summary of the entire experience. It's called the peak end roll, a psychological truth that says we judge experiences based on their most intense moment and their ending. So when you speak, make sure you create at least one emotional peak, one moment that hits the heart, and one powerful ending that leaves a lasting echo. But influence isn't only about emotion, it's also about meaning. Emotion grabs attention, but meaning holds it. People crave stories that help them make sense of their lives. When you speak, don't just aim to inspire, aim to awaken meaning. Show your audience that what they're hearing connects to something bigger, their identity, their dreams, their future. Influence happens when your message helps people rewrite the story they tell themselves. For example, imagine someone who believes they're not confident. You could tell them, "Be brave, don't be afraid." That's logical advice, but it won't change them. But if you say, "Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's acting while afraid," you change their story. You give their fear a new meaning, and meaning transforms behavior faster than motivation ever will. That's the psychology of transformation, changing the meaning people attach to their experience. Another key to influence is reciprocity, the human instinct to return what we receive. When you give value, when you offer your time, your insight, your kindness, people feel compelled to give something back. Not because they owe you, but because generosity creates emotional balance. As a speaker or communicator, give first. Give energy. Give sincerity. Give care. The more value you give, the more space you create for influence to flow naturally. And then there's social proof, the way humans look to others to decide what's safe or worthy. When you share examples, stories, or results from others, you're giving your audience permission to believe. That's why testimonials and shared experiences are so powerful. They lower resistance. They whisper, "You're not alone." The psychology behind this is simple. People trust what feels familiar. Now let's talk about authority. Not the kind that demands respect, but the kind that earns it. True authority comes from competence and calm. It's when you know your subject deeply, but speak about it humbly. People are drawn to those who are sure, but not arrogant, confident, but not overbearing. Authority isn't about how loud you are, it's about how centered you are. The calmest voice often carries the greatest weight. Another dimension of influence is storytelling through contrast, showing what was versus what is. Humans think in contrast, before and after, pain and pleasure, failure and growth. When you describe transformation with contrast, you activate the emotional brain. The listener can see the difference. That's what makes your message memorable, not just the lesson, but the journey. And don't forget emotional mirroring, one of the most powerful tools of connection. When you match someone's energy, tone, or pace, you create instant rapport. They feel, often unconsciously, that you understand them. But mirroring isn't imitation, it's empathy in motion. When they're calm, you meet them with calm. When they're excited, you rise with them. This subtle alignment builds trust faster than logic ever could. In influence, there's also timing, knowing when to say what. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to speak, but to wait. Silence creates anticipation. Pausing before a key idea gives it weight. Psychology tells us that the brain values what comes after a pause because it feels important. So let your words breathe. Let emotion build in the space between sentences. That's where impact lives. And then there's the final piece, purpose. The deepest form of influence doesn't come from charisma or persuasion. It comes from service. When your goal is to serve, not to impress, your energy changes. You stop trying to prove your worth and start offering your value. People can feel that shift. They can sense when your motive is pure. And when they trust your motive, your message becomes unstoppable. So the psychology of influence isn't about power, it's about alignment. When your intention, emotion, and expression are all moving in the same direction, you become magnetic. You don't chase influence, you attract it. People start to lean in, not because you demand their attention, but because you earn it. So the next time you speak, remember your words are not just sounds, they're emotional architecture. You're not just communicating, you're constructing belief. Every sentence you speak builds a bridge between your truth and someone else's possibility. Speak with empathy. Speak with meaning. Speak with love. That's how influence becomes transformation.
Every speaker, no matter how confident they seem, has felt it. That quiet tremor before speaking, that voice in the back of your mind whispering, "What if I fail?" Fear. It's the invisible wall between who we are and who we could become. And yet, that fear isn't your enemy. It's your signal. It tells you that something matters deeply to you. The same energy that creates fear also fuels passion. The difference isn't in the feeling, it's in the focus. Think of the first time you ever spoke in front of someone. Maybe in class, maybe at work, maybe just introducing yourself. Your heart raced, your hands trembled, your voice quivered. You weren't broken, you were alive. That sensation wasn't danger, it was energy. Fear and excitement are twins, born from the same source. One freezes you, the other frees you. And the key to mastering fear isn't eliminating it, it's transforming it. When you step on stage, your body releases adrenaline, your heart beats faster, your breath quickens. That's your body preparing you for greatness, not for failure. It's saying something important is about to happen. The problem is, most people interpret that energy as panic instead of power. But what if instead of saying, "I'm nervous," you said, "I'm ready"? That single shift in language transforms anxiety into anticipation. The words you tell yourself shape the world you experience. Fear lives in the future, in imagined mistakes, imagined judgment, imagined rejection. But speaking happens in the present. The moment you come back to your breath, to your voice, to the sound of your words, fear loses its grip.
You can't be terrified and fully present at the same time. The mind can't live in two places. That's why mindfulness is one of the most powerful tools for speakers. When you anchor yourself in the now, your fear becomes fuel instead of fire. Here's something most people never realize. The fear of speaking isn't fear of speaking, it's fear of being seen. When you speak, you're not just sharing words, you're revealing yourself. And for many of us, that's terrifying because being seen means being vulnerable. But vulnerability is the birthplace of connection. Every great speaker has learned to stand in that space, open and honest, saying, "This is me, and I'm still worthy." The moment you embrace your imperfection, your audience breathes easier. They see themselves in you. The truth is, people don't want you to be perfect. They want you to be present. They don't care if you stumble, forget a line, or take a pause. What they care about is your authenticity. Fear tells you that mistakes will destroy you, but connection proves that humanity will save you. Some of the most powerful moments in speaking come not when everything goes right, but when something goes wrong, and you stay real anyway. So how do you overcome the fear? First, stop fighting it. The more you resist fear, the stronger it grows. Instead, welcome it. Say, "I see you. You're part of this." Then breathe into it. Literally breathe. Fear lives in shallow breathing. Confidence lives in full breathing. Take a slow, deep breath before every talk. Feel your feet on the ground. Let your breath anchor you. That's how you tell your body, "I'm safe. I'm ready." Second, reframe the moment. Most people think, "Everyone's judging me." But the truth is, everyone's rooting for you. The audience doesn't want you to fail. They want you to succeed. They want to be inspired, entertained, moved. They're not your critics. They're your partners. When you see them not as judges but as allies, the stage stops being a battlefield and becomes a playground. Third, practice exposure. Confidence isn't built in silence, it's built in action. Every time you speak, even for a minute, you're training your nervous system to see that you can survive and even thrive. The only way to eliminate fear is to face it repeatedly until it becomes familiar. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to act while afraid. Every great speaker you admire once trembled too. The difference is they didn't stop. There's also a deeper layer, mindset. The way you think about speaking shapes how you experience it. Many people approach speaking with a performance mindset. I must impress. That mindset creates pressure, perfectionism, and fear. But there's another mindset, the service mindset. I'm here to help. When you shift from performance to service, fear melts away because now it's not about you anymore. It's about them. The audience stops being a threat and becomes your purpose. That shift is everything. When your intention is pure, your focus changes. You stop worrying about your image and start caring about your impact. You stop asking, "Will they like me?" and start asking, "Will this help them?" And the beautiful paradox is, when you stop trying to impress people, that's when you actually do, because authenticity always outshines performance. Mindset also means forgiveness, forgiving yourself for imperfection. Every great communicator has had moments they wish they could redo. Stumbles, blank pauses, awkward silences. But those aren't failures, they're milestones. Growth isn't linear. It's a series of small, imperfect moments that teach you who you are. When you embrace that, you stop fearing mistakes because you see them as teachers. Here's a truth worth remembering. Fear is the tax you pay for doing something meaningful. If you feel no fear, it probably doesn't matter enough. The presence of fear means you're growing, stretching, reaching beyond your comfort zone. So when that familiar nervousness rises, smile at it. Say, there you are. That means I'm doing something that matters. Fear also fades in the presence of preparation. The more you know your message, the freer you become to express it. Rehearse, yes, but not to memorize, to internalize. Speak it in different tones, at different speeds, to different people. When your message lives in your heart, not just your head, you can relax. You're no longer performing, you're sharing. And never underestimate the power of visualization. Before every talk, close your eyes and see yourself succeeding, not perfectly, but powerfully. Picture the faces in the audience smiling, nodding, connecting. Feel the gratitude of finishing strong. The mind doesn't distinguish vividly imagined experiences from real ones. So when the moment comes, your body says, I've already been here. Remember this. The voice of fear is loudest right before breakthrough. When everything in you says, I can't, that's usually the moment you're about to grow. So take one step, one breath, one word at a time. Courage doesn't mean you feel fearless. It means you act even when fear is still whispering. And when you finally stand there, under the lights, with every heartbeat echoing in your chest, don't hide from that feeling. Welcome it. That's life reminding you that you're alive, that your words matter, that this moment is sacred. You're not just speaking, you're stepping into your power. Fear will never fully disappear, but neither will your strength. They coexist. And every time you speak despite the fear, your courage grows louder, stronger, clearer. Until one day, you realize the thing you once feared most has become the thing that frees you most. So the next time you speak, breathe, smile, and step forward, not because you're fearless, but because you're ready. You've learned to dance with your fear instead of running from it. That's the difference between a speaker who survives and one that transforms. You were never meant to hide. You were meant to shine.
When you listen to a great speaker, you don't just hear their words, you feel their rhythm. Their voice doesn't rush or drag, it breathes. It rises, pauses, and falls like the tide. That rhythm is what pulls you in, holds you there, and makes time disappear. Speaking isn't just about language, it's about music. Every sentence carries a beat, every pause a note. And when you learn to play that music with your voice, your message becomes unforgettable. The secret lies not in perfection, but in energy flow. Every idea you share has a natural tempo. Some moments need stillness, others need fire. The best speakers dance between those energies, guiding the audience's emotions like a conductor leading a symphony. They don't just speak to the ears, they speak to the heartbeat. You see, emotion is the hidden language of communication. Words tell the story, but emotion sells the story. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That's why emotion isn't decoration, it's the foundation. When your voice carries genuine feeling, it pierces through logic and touches the soul. But emotion must be honest. Forced emotion feels false. Authentic emotion feels magnetic. The way to achieve that isn't by acting, it's by connecting. Don't just tell a story, relive it. Go back to that moment in your mind. Feel the air, the heartbeat, the truth of what you experienced. When you relive it, your audience relives it with you. Imagine you're telling a story about a moment that changed you. You could say, I was nervous. Or you could become that version of you again. Your breath shortens, your voice softens, your tone trembles slightly. That vulnerability draws your listener in. They start to feel what you felt. That's not performance. That's truth transmitted through tone. Storytelling isn't about impressing people. It's about transporting them.
A great story is a mirror in which the listener sees themselves. The details make it real, but the emotion makes it universal. When you tell a story, don't just narrate the events, reveal the meaning. Why does this story matter? What did it teach you? What can it teach them? Every story that resonates carries 3 layers: the event, the emotion, and the evolution. What happened, how you felt, and how it changed you. And rhythm. Rhythm ties it all together. Think of your voice like a wave. Build tension, then release it. Speak quickly when excitement rises, then slow down to let meaning sink in. Silence is not your enemy, it's your amplifier. The pause after a powerful sentence is where the audience breathes, reflects, and feels. Great speakers know that silence is not empty, it's full of attention. Let's take an example. You could say, "You have the power to change your life." Simple, right? But say it like this: you have the power to change your life. Each pause gives weight to the words. The silence between them turns them from a sentence into a statement. The rhythm transforms language into impact. Your tone is your emotional fingerprint. You can say the same words 100 ways, and each carries a different meaning. Try whispering an idea, then declaring it, then laughing through it. You'll feel how tone changes everything. The secret to mastering tone isn't imitation, it's awareness. Record yourself. Listen. Notice where your energy drops, where your emotion peaks. Tune your voice like an instrument until it plays what your heart means. Every emotion has a sound. Excitement vibrates. Sadness sinks. Confidence resonates. Curiosity lifts. When you speak, your audience doesn't only hear your words, they hear who you are. So let your voice carry your humanity. Don't hide your joy, your doubt, your wonder. Let it color your sound. That's how you go from sounding correct to sounding alive. And don't forget movement. Your body is part of your rhythm. Every gesture, every glance, every shift of posture tells its own story. But never move for the sake of moving. Let your body respond naturally to your message. When your gestures come from emotion, not habit, they look effortless. You don't perform confidence, you embody it. Speaking is a full body experience. The way you stand affects the way you sound. When your spine is tall and your breath is deep, your voice carries strength. When your shoulders drop and your chest collapses, your energy falls with it. That's why posture isn't cosmetic, it's expressive. Speak not only with your mouth, but with your presence. And then there's flow. Flow is when everything connects. Your message, your tone, your rhythm, your emotion, and your movement. It's when speaking stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like being. You're no longer trying to say something. You are the message. Time slows. Words come naturally. The audience disappears. Yet somehow you feel them more deeply than ever. That's the magic of alignment, when thought, voice, and heart move as one. You can't force flow, but you can prepare for it. It begins with deep understanding. Know your message so well that it becomes part of you. Practice until you can let go of control. Flow lives in surrender, not in tension. When you stop trying to perform perfectly and start allowing yourself to express freely, flow appears like a river returning to its course. And once you taste that flow, you'll never forget it. You'll chase it, not for applause, but for the feeling of being completely alive, fully present, deeply connected. That's the high every great communicator knows. It's not fame, it's not praise, it's the quiet fire of alignment, the moment when your truth meets their heart. That's why storytelling, rhythm, and emotion aren't just skills, they're gateways. They lead you to authenticity. They remind you that speaking isn't about information, it's about transformation. It's about reaching across the invisible distance between you and another human being and saying, "I see you. I've been there too." Every time you speak, you have the chance to create that moment, a shared breath, a shared heartbeat, a shared truth. So speak with rhythm, speak with honesty, speak with soul. Let your stories dance, your pauses breathe, your tone shimmer with feeling. Don't chase perfection, chase connection. Because when your voice aligns with your heart, when your rhythm matches your truth, when your story carries meaning, that's when you stop giving speeches and start giving experiences. You stop communicating words and start communicating life. And the world doesn't need more perfect speakers. It needs more real ones. When everything quiets down, when the applause fades, when the lights dim, when you walk off the stage or close the call, what remains is presence. Not the words you said, not the slides you showed, but the energy you left behind. That's your legacy. Every speaker, every teacher, every storyteller carries a choice to fill the air with sound or to fill hearts with meaning. Presence isn't about volume or authority. It's about awareness. It's the stillness inside you that holds everything together. When you stand in front of people and truly see them, not as an audience but as souls, something shifts. The barrier between you and them dissolves. In that space, communication stops being performance and becomes communion. You're not speaking to them anymore. You're speaking with them. The greatest speakers don't leave people impressed. They leave them transformed. They don't make the audience think, wow, that person is amazing. They make them think, wow, maybe I can do that too. That's the essence of influence, not control, but awakening. Your job is not to shine brighter than others, but to light the spark inside them so they start to shine too. Presence is built on simplicity. When you drop the mask of trying to sound smart, you start to sound real. When you stop chasing perfection, you find connection. People don't crave perfect sentences. They crave genuine moments. The trembling of your voice when you share something true carries more power than 1,000 rehearsed lines, because truth vibrates, it resonates, it sticks. And legacy, your legacy, is not the speech itself, but the echo it leaves behind. Every time you speak from the heart, a part of that energy lingers in someone's mind, in someone's courage, in someone's next decision. Maybe they'll remember a single phrase you said. Maybe they'll remember how they felt when they listened to you. Maybe they'll carry that feeling into their next conversation, their next challenge, their next dream. That's how change spreads, not through grand moments, but through human ripples. The art of leaving a lasting impression is not about standing out. It's about standing in your truth, in your values, in your message. The world is full of noise, but when you speak from stillness, people listen differently. They lean in, not because you're loud, but because you're real. They sense that you're not trying to sell them something. You're sharing something that matters. So how do you become unforgettable? You stop trying to be unforgettable. You focus instead on being undeniably present. Every moment, every word, every breath becomes intentional. You breathe with your audience, not just around them. You listen even as you speak. You trust silence as much as you trust speech. You're not there to prove yourself. You're there to serve. And in that service, you find your power. You realize that speaking isn't about standing above others, it's about standing among them. It's about reminding them that they too have a voice, that they too have a story worth telling, that their silence can become song. Because the greatest gift of a speaker is not to be heard, it's to make others want to speak. At some point in this journey, you'll understand. Public speaking isn't about speaking publicly, it's about living publicly. Standing openly in your truth, without apology. The courage you build on stage becomes the courage you carry off stage. The voice you discover in front of others becomes the voice you use to stand up for yourself, to stand up for what's right, to stand up for the people who haven't found their own yet. When you master this, your words stop belonging only to you. They become bigger, they travel, they outlive the moment. They echo in conversations you'll never hear, in hearts you'll never meet. That's legacy. That's what great communicators leave behind, not just sentences, but shifts. So as this masterclass closes, remember this. Your voice is not small. It's ancient, powerful, and necessary. The world doesn't need another polished speaker. It needs you, your accent, your emotion, your story, your truth. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. Truth is enough. When you walk into your next conversation, your next meeting, your next stage, don't focus on being perfect. Focus on being present. Speak as if it's the last time you'll ever get to say something that matters, because one day it will be. And when that day comes, may your words be full of life. May your silence be full of strength. And may your presence be the kind of light that lingers long after you've gone. Because that's the real secret of public speaking. It's not about being remembered. It's about making others remember themselves.